Welcome to Practical Business Analysis Part 1 course. This course is divided into several modules, and each module in turn has many lectures. Let us now look at the scope and coverage of the course in detail. The modules start with a welcome and then proceed to discuss what is business analysis. We then have a look at the rationale for business analysis, followed by identity and role of business analyst. We will then have a look at business analyst's contribution. This is then followed by mantras for business analysts. Finally, we've got the post-course assessment. We are now going to look at what is business analysis module in detail. We are now in Module 2, what is a business analysis. This module has 6 lectures followed by the module end assessment. It starts off with the introduction and agenda, and then we will touch upon IIBA's definition of business analysis, and then the BCS definition of business analysis. We will then look at the practical aspects of business analysis. This lecture is put together from the insights and lessons learned from my experience working in the IT industry over the last few years. We will then touch upon what a business analyst does. This is followed by the recap and finally the module end assessment. Let's look at the lecture, What Does a Business Analyst Do? So what are we waiting for? Let's begin the journey. Hi, welcome to the Practical Business Analysis course Part 1. My name is Partha. I'm your trainer for this course. Before we delve deeper into the course, the modules and lectures, let me give you a brief introduction about myself, why this course is so special, and how you're going to get benefited by taking this course. Talking about myself, I am an MBA and an IIBA certified business analysis professional. Also, I'm a BCS certified international diploma holder as well as advanced diploma holder. I have got about 18 years of experience working in the IT industry as business analyst. And in the last 18 years, I've been helping big multinational organizations such as Deutsche Bank, Cambridge University Press, King's College London, as well as small startups like Global Dawn. In this course, I'm really going to use all the insights that I gathered in the last 18 years of my experience and package them in the form of capsules and nutshells so that you can try and use all of these to your benefit. The course is aimed at both practicing as well as aspiring business analysis professionals. In this course, you're going to learn not just about what business analysis is all about, how it's going to benefit you, but also you're going to learn a lot of insights like what are the guiding principles for business analysis and what are the areas that you should be careful about when doing some of the activities in business analysis. This course, Practical Business Analysis Part 1, has got several modules, and each module is divided into lectures. This particular module is called What is Business Analysis? It has got several lectures, as you might be aware by now, and one of the lectures that we have is What does a business analyst do? This question gets asked by a lot of people to me as to what do you guys really do? I know that you keep traveling a lot. I know that you keep organizing and participating in meetings and workshops. I know that you write requirements documents. But is that all that you do, or is there anything more than this? Well, the answer to that is, as business analysts, we tend to do a whole lot of things and tasks. Some of the things are about connecting with people, ensuring that they are engaged with the right amount of information. They can give us the information. It's all about exploration. We explore, we try and understand, elicit the requirements and elicit the expectations and the goals from them. And we tend to share these insights with all of the people, the team members and the other stakeholders. Also, we try and influence the people, the right people who can take the decisions. We tend to influence them in the right positive manner. And in doing so, we would try and ensure that we provide the thought leadership, the leadership in terms of how this organization could be structured in the next few years, what kind of strategies, what areas should we try and enter into. So these are, simply put, the connect, engage, explore, share, influence, and lead could be the words that we can say how business analysts are engaged in day-to-day activities. Simply put, we can say that the business analysts focus on products, perspectives, processes, and finally the profits. But do not forget the people element there. We do all of these different activities and ensure that these are all covered while focusing on the people. These people could be shareholders, they could be the senior management, they could be the vendors, the customers, and the users, for instance. So you can see that we are very people focused and we communicate a whole lot of time, all the time. And you can say that communication is about 99% of the time that we try and cater to the business analysis activities. Apart from that, let's have a look at each of the specific activities and tasks that we can do packaged in a broader sense. So that's where I put together this lecture. This covers the pretty important aspects of analysis, verification and validation, specification, segmentation, and the most important, facilitation. You can see these in greater detail as part of this lecture. Analysis, specification, segmentation, visualization, validation, and facilitation in no particular order. Sounds like too much of a jargon. Let's have a look at this in detail. As you get to see the explanation, please note that a typical BA would not work on all of these areas in one project or one process at once. The main activities and tasks depend to a large extent on the nature of the industry, organization, and the specific initiative or project at hand. Analysis. It's no surprise that as analysts, we do loads of analysis all the time. Identify problems and opportunities. Ask questions. Challenge the status quo. Ask questions who, what, why, when, where, and how. More importantly, ask not just why, but also why not. Remember, there's no such thing as a dumb question. Identify the stakeholders and entities. Not just shareholders, but people, groups, or organizations that have a direct or indirect influence on the outcome of a project. Understand the constraints, dependencies, and relationships. These could be to do with technology, business, work culture, financial aspects, and so on. Capture the gaps, needs, goals, and expectations of the main persons involved. Understand the situation. Understanding the underlying domain models. What do we mean by domain? The factors depending on the industry, markets, and vertical segments that the organization belongs to. For example, a bank belongs to the BFSI, banking, financial services, and insurance domain, and so has several regulatory constraints and rules that need to be considered. An online e-commerce website, on the other hand, could be thought of as belonging to the retail industry and is relatively less obligated, is willing to explore new ways of doing business.
Use investigative and data gathering techniques. There is a whole range of techniques and tools: interviews, workshops, questionnaires, scenarios, prototyping, document analysis, and so on and so forth. We can have a look at this in greater detail in a different course. Create conceptual and logical models. Could be simple diagrams using pencil and paper to illustrate the concept, as well as more advanced models using UML, that is Unified Modeling Language, or BPMN, that is Business Process Modeling Notation. Derive insights, ideas, problems, opportunities, challenges, and potential ways of solving the problems. Let's move on to the next one, the specification. A clear definition of what to do as opposed to the implementation thinking of how to do. Remember, we are still in the problem space and not solution space. Define the vision. Draw the boundaries around the big outlines within which the current situation operates. Define the scope, not just what is in scope, but also, more importantly, what is out of scope. Define the high-level vision. It sets the direction and guides the way forward for the overall initiative. This needs not be detailed and specific at this point of time, but it should be broad enough to indicate an overall sense and purpose of the initiative. Understand the potential roadmap. This again is at a high level, more along the lines of an evolving plan, and of course is bound to change as we go along. Define and manage requirements. Identify constraints, assumptions, and risks. In a sense, not just requirements of what to do, think about the current scenarios of as is and understand the problems. Cover functional and non-functional aspects. Go beyond features and functionality in the product. Think about performance, availability, quality, user experience, to mention a few. Specify the requirements. These used to be in the form of FRS, the Functional Requirements Specification, BRD, the Business Requirements Document, MRD, Marketing Requirements Document, and so on and so forth in the olden days. But now, increasingly with the agile methods, they're made available in the form of backlog items and user stories. In short, the crisper, the better for maintenance. And lastly, communicate requirements to stakeholders and teams. This communication happens through multiple formats and ways, and also using tools such as Microsoft Office Suite, Jira, Wiki, meetings, one-to-one discussions with team members, etc. Let's have a look at the next one, the segmentation. Dividing the target customers and users into groups so that we can better address the needs with our offerings. The first step in this process could be to create profiles. Identify the target customer groups. These are the people who buy our products or services. They could also be the key decision makers in the context of business solutions or services. Identify primary users and user groups. The consumers that use our products or services. They can be grouped into many categories depending on their level and usage, such as primary or heavy users, advanced or expert users, moderate users, etc. Understand the needs, goals, and motivations. These are relevant to the primary consumers and customers. It is important to identify their needs and goals, which are different from what they want. Not all wants and wishes are needs, so better be careful in deciding which one is what and focus on the needs. Create demographics and psychographic profiles. Sounds too bombastic again. Let's have a look at these. Demographics, simply put, are the age, gender, education, work experience, and so on. Whereas psychographics are about the beliefs, their attitudes, the value systems, and the cultural aspects. Create personas. Identify the key characteristics for primary users. What are personas? They are the representative archetypes of user profiles. Personas are a powerful design tool to connect with potential users for our products and services. Give a fictitious name, a form, and include relevant information such as their education background, work experience, technology awareness, exposure to similar applications and products, and so on and so forth. Use these as rough guides during the screening and user tests. Use the personas as initial tool for assessment of users' context and their needs and goals. You can validate and change the information in personas based on the insights and findings from the user interviews and tests. Let's come to visualization. This is a journey to take the user through what we call as WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. Create mockups. These are static pages or screens showing the look and feel of how the actual finished product would look like. A rough presentation of the solution, not the actual solution, but it's closer to how the solution would appear. Use different types of media, sketch notes using simple pen and papers, rich pictures using tools, mind maps, high quality visuals using tools such as OmniGraffle, Visio, or Balsamiq. Think about the fidelity of the wireframes. What is fidelity? It's the ease with which a wireframe or mockup can be built, and also how easy it is to change if needed. So a diagram on paper can be created easily and quickly in a few seconds, whereas a UML diagram on Visio can take a few minutes or hours to create. So it's technically more difficult and more time consuming to create them compared with the paper ones. Make prototypes. They are the dynamic pages or screens with some interaction and a bit of navigation among the pages. They're richer than the static wireframes because user can have a better feel with the models than just looking at some static pages. These help as a checkpoint during the formative development stages as well as the finished version of product or service. The prototypes can be used to assess the technological choices. This is what we call as POC, proof of capability, in a specific platform or a set of technologies. Validation. Test early, test often, and test more. Testing is critical for the success of any product. Conduct reviews. Conduct periodic reviews and tests of the requirements as they evolve across the life cycle. Not just reviews of requirements, but also others, such as the product in its formative stages, processes, and identifying areas of improvements. Informal and formal ways. Peer reviews, scheduled review sessions, retrospective meetings, steering committee evaluations, and so on. Post-implementation reviews and benefits realization. Periodic audits and assessments to help take corrective and preventive measures. Perform testing. Perform functional black box testing of the features as and when they're being developed and are ready to be integrated into the main product. Do user acceptance testing, which is the evaluation from the point of view of customers and end users. Participate in user testing or usability testing. Now, don't confuse user testing with user acceptance testing. User testing involves testing of the product by real users and could include both formative and summative evaluations. User acceptance testing, on the other hand, is usually done by the representatives of users, typically at the end of the product development. Facilitation. This is about enabling the team members and stakeholders with the correct information, insights, tooling, and support. Enabling teams in creating solution. No problems, no solution. No problems, no solution. BAs focus on the problem domain and help teams to transition into the solution space. Enable teams in identifying options and creating the solution. Identifying, prioritizing, specifying the problems well will lead to creating the correct solution better. Think what, why, and who more than how. As BAs, the focus should be more on the functional know what and the logical know why, more than the technical know how. Working in a team and working with multiple teams. Team working and people skills are very important to becoming an effective BA. Continuous communication. This is clearly one of the biggest contributions. BAs continuously communicate with the teams and key stakeholders in their preferred channels, formats, and modes. Reports, meetings, discussions, and more. The BAs use many ways to reach the message to the intended target audience. Communicate before, during, and after the project lifecycle. This is where BAs play a key role across the entire lifecycle of the initiative. To sum it up, look, listen, understand, connect, influence, and lead. This is the mantra for a successful business analysis professional.
So, that concludes this lecture on what does a business analyst do. I hope you understood the real activities and tasks that are performed by actual business analysts on a day-to-day basis. Please feel free to express your views, ideas, and ask us questions on this course, the coverage and content. Watch out for the upcoming lecture with the Q&A. Thank you ever so much.